Recently, the country was shocked by a couple of high-profile verdicts in some racially charged cases. Now, I don't want to get into the politics of these things because as a lawyer, I really look at it from the perspective of what happened in the courtroom and whether justice was served. So, I want to first talk about the Rittenhouse case. And the reality is, for everybody's personal beliefs, the verdict was consistent with what the evidence was presented in court. I'll tell you, as I sat there and watched it though, I thought the prosecutors could have gotten a conviction if they went about the case in an entirely different way. When they went in and they had this whole theory of a intentional murder, that's when you bring in the whole self-defense claims. And obviously, once you had the prosecution's own witnesses saying, yes, I was pointing a gun at him, the self-defense claims were unsurprisingly successful. But if the prosecutor had instead taken an entirely different strategy, no intentional killing, instead a pure, reckless endangerment. The theory that bringing a loaded AR-15 to a violent protest in and of itself creates a substantial risk of death or serious bodily injury. If they had simply focused on that, and they had instead said, by bringing it there, he was inciting and people were chasing him, which put him into the position where he had to defend himself. I suspect at that point, they would have instead gotten a conviction. But, as we saw, prosecutors, as they often do, they get so fixated on the top count that they ignore what actually makes sense. And I've dealt with this many times in cases where the prosecutors get so fixated on an idea and they try and throw so much stuff up against the wall, hoping that something will stick. As a defense attorney, we take that and we show the jury that what they're doing is not reasonable. It's even easier in a case like that where the prosecutor goes and does things that the judge admonishes them that they did wrong. Because the reality is, if a prosecutor has a good and solid case, they don't need to go make improper statements. They don't need to withhold evidence. They don't need to do any of that prosecutorial misconduct if they have a good case. But when they do start playing games like that, it's an indicator that their case isn't as strong as they want it to be. And that's when somebody like me has the opportunity to come in and exploit those weaknesses and show the jury the true nature of the case. So those are my thoughts on Kyle Rittenhouse.